There is a song that we have done dirty, possibly the worst thing we've ever done to a song in history as a society, and you know the song. You know that song, and you know what that song means. That means a clown is about to show up, and that sucks. That sucks. It's a sucky thing to do to a song. But do you know what that song is actually called? It's called Entrance of the Gladiators. It is a battle march written by the bandmaster of the Austro-Hungarian army that was meant to evoke war. We took a battle march and made it the juggling theme. Can you imagine a gladiator entering to that song right now? That is so wild to me. That is like learning that yakety sax was originally meant as a funeral march. Guys, what is with American companies and their weird side hustles? I'm watching the NBA playoffs the other day, and they're playing in the Ball Arena. My wife sees it, and she sees the logo, and she's like, is that the Mason Jar people? What are they doing with stadium naming money? Are they like secretly also defense contractors or something? They are absolutely in defense contracting. In the 1950s, they pivoted hard and started making satellites. They were like, hey, we're so good at canned peaches, we should try war. And you know what they don't make? Fucking jars. They got out of the jar business. They're too busy in aerospace. And then I went down this crazy rabbit hole of all these different companies where they're like, yeah, we make a thing you've heard of, but our true passion is war machines. AMF makes bowling alley equipment and funny, aggressive animations. They also make nuclear power plants and missile launch systems, which means some of their animations were not that far off. Honeywell, home security air conditioning, also the autopilot system that we used to drop the bomb. Singer made typewriters and sewing machines and pew pew. Texas Instruments makes calculators and also big pew pew. General Electric has made toasters and fighter planes, and I know they're general, but I didn't know they were that general. And just a couple years ago, John Deere and the Roomba company joined forces to make an automated robot that patrols around military bases. No matter what you manufacture in this country, at some point, the government is going to show up and be like, hey, we loved your work on bowling pins. How would you like to kill? The history of Mother's Day is actually kind of wild, and the woman who invented it kind of got imprisoned by the floral industry for trying to stop it. This is a special Mother's Day edition of Unfun Facts. There have been lots of different celebrations of mothers going back centuries, but the modern Mother's Day in the United States started in 1908 in Philadelphia by a woman named Anna Jarvis. Her mom had been an activist and an organizer, and she had always talked about wanting a day honoring mothers. So after she passed, Anna decided to make that dream a reality. First, she organized a mass honoring her late mother and all mothers, and then she started a letter writing campaign to make that an official holiday, and it took off because moms. And you'd think Anna would be very proud. I mean, she just birthed her own national holiday, but sometimes your kids grow up to disappoint you. Anna had picked carnations as the flower of Mother's Day, and almost immediately the flower industry started jacking up the price of just carnations just for the month of May. And then the greeting card industry got into it, which really pissed Anna off. She said, a printed card means nothing except that you were too lazy to write to the woman who has done more for you than anyone in the world. In 1943, she started a petition to end Mother's Day, but then that stopped abruptly when she was put into a sanitarium, and the bill for that sanitarium was paid for by the floral industry. And all of this feels oddly appropriate for Mother's Day, doesn't it? You've created something, it's beautiful and you're proud of it, but also it's kind of trapping you. Anyway, the point is you're running out of time to buy your mom flowers and a pre-printed greeting card. Get on it. People in my family know that I love two things, unfun facts and space stuff. So it's not shocking that my sister texted me and asked, how do they do laundry in space? The short answer is they don't, they just stink. But the longer answer is that it's time for an Unfun Facts Stinky Space special. I talked about this a little bit a couple months ago, but I want to expand on it because of what's in the news. Boeing's new spaceship finally made it to the International Space Station, but now it's staying extra long to do a bunch of tests. Nobody's in danger, and honestly, the crew is probably stoked because most people spend the first few days in space being kind of sick. So if you have an 8-day mission, that's more queasy than cool. But if they only packed for 8 days, are they doing hella loads of laundry? No, of course not. It's an RV in space full of science equipment. They don't have a lot of extra water. They just wear polo shirts until they are too gross and then throw them away in the trash. They're not showering, they're not changing, and they sleep really close to the space dumpster, so it sounds like it might smell. Scott Kelly spent a year at the space station, and he said the smell is a combination of new car scent plus garbage and BO. And because they're kind of practicing for Mars eventually, he decided to see how long he could make his laundry last. 4 days for underwear, a month for socks, and 6 months for khakis. I really enjoy remembering that astronauts are overworked, lonely, have headaches from the oxygen scrubbers, and their whole world is a little bit stinky. And I like that because I was so cruelly overlooked for the space program, despite the fact that I was not qualified, didn't apply, and would not have been able to do the job. But NASA didn't call me either, and phones work both ways. These are my favorite times companies have rebranded stuff to just trick you about what you're getting. Chilean sea bass. This ugly dude used to be called the toothfish, but then we ate most of the good fish, so they were trying to figure out a way to sell some of the uglier fish to us, and a dude came up with the idea of just calling this a sea bass, even though it's not. For balance, though, sometimes they actually make the names more honest, like mahi mahi used to be called dolphin fish, not a dolphin, and uni used to be called whore's eggs, and whores don't lay eggs, they give birth to live young. Other food things. Giving me less candy is less fun than giving me more candy, but they can just call it fun size and I'm not allowed to sue. A combination pressure cooker and slow cooker is called an instant pot. That is not an instant. It should be called some things faster, some things slower pot, or like 45 minutes is pretty good for stew pot. Convection ovens are called air fryers now, even though frying means to cook in oil. Methane became natural gas. It's from nature. I bet the greenhouse gases don't count. Car companies changed the name of crossing a public space to jaywalking so that if you get hit by one of their cars, it's your fault, dummy. But my favorite one is when they changed rayon to bamboo sheets. If you dissolve plant matter in toxic sludge to extract the cellulose and then squirt it under high pressure through an acid, you can turn it into these thin, soft chemical threads called rayon. Like, yeah, there is technically some bamboo in bamboo sheets, but it's a fun-sized amount.